Fam, what is going on? Welcome back to episode 7 of the Creative Encounter podcast. I'm your host, Jewett Payne, and again, I thank you so much for tuning in. I love having you here, and while you are here, I do want to mention we are on multiple platforms. So if you are on YouTube watching right now, hello, so good to see you here, and please subscribe. I would love that. Please go to Spotify and go ahead and leave us a review. And on Apple Podcasts, you can leave us a rating. This really helps us to reach so many more people if you can do those few things for us. We really appreciate that. But hey, from the timing of the recording of this episode, it is November 2022. We are a few weeks away from the new year. We have officially entered into the holiday season. People are skipping all over this upcoming Thanksgiving and talking about Christmas. It's not right, y'all. It is not right, but people are doing it nevertheless. So it's a fun time. So this is a good time right now. And with that, as we are so close to going to the new year, this is a topic that I am excited to talk to you about today. Today's episode is entitled, Finding Your Rhythm, Making Time for Your Dreams. Again, finding your rhythm, making time for your dreams. I've been so excited to teach this specific episode because I want you to be able to thrive in what God is calling you to do, as you know, which is why this podcast is here, right? And sometimes we just need to find our rhythm. And it's that whole thing of finding time. And you have to make time. Sometimes, we've all said like, man, I wish there were so many more hours on the clock and all of this stuff, right? But all of those icons and idols and individuals who are out there killing it, all those people we look up to, they have the same amount of hours that we have in a day, right? Now, for us, it's a matter of how we budget and utilize those hours to be able to execute. That's key. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to give you guys 3 practical steps, extremely practical, that you can implement starting today. So I want to make sure you get your pen, your paper, get ready, because this one, you definitely have to take notes on this one, okay? This is going to be a really good time, okay? So now I want to give a disclaimer really quickly. I am not perfect at this. I'm still working on this as well. As you guys know, I juggle a lot of hats between, being a husband, a father, a serial entrepreneur. I mean, I'm full-time entrepreneur in multiple businesses, juggling a few things. Then I'm active in church as well. So it is a lot going on in this household. I got a lot of hats on my head, right? But even with that, being able to still execute because of the practicalities of being able to be disciplined, being able to knock this stuff out. Again, it's not perfect. I'm still working on this as I'm talking about it. I'm sitting here like, okay, Joy, you need to actually, as soon as this podcast recording is over, you need to implement this right now. You need to go ahead and evaluate and check to see if you're doing these things so that you can be excellent, okay? So it's key. So yes, you could definitely do this, and you want to be able to have a healthy schedule, a healthy and vibrant schedule, because this isn't going to be something where you're replacing all of your other priorities just to shove in a bunch of work. This is all about working smarter, not harder. So if that's enticing, if that sounds good to you, this is where you want to be right now. You want to be able to work smarter, not harder. Okay. So that's key. And you want to be healthy, meaning everything else is actually enhanced because of you being able to implement this plan and timing things out and doing well and scheduling and just knocking these things out, okay? So we are going to jump into it. It's going to be an amazing time. So we have 3 steps, as I mentioned before. Let's just jump straight into step 1. So, this is a video and it's a podcast that you can pause. So if you don't have that pen and paper, I'm going to need you to pause this so that we can get this going, okay? So go ahead and do that. I'm going to wait a second. All right, let's go ahead and dive in, all right? So step 1. Survey your time. Step 1, I need you to survey your time. Surveying your time is without a doubt the most crucial component to this system, okay? You're going to have to. It's like going to get a checkup at the doctor. You cannot fix the problem. You can't fix the problem unless you go and get a checkup to see what is going on, right? So we're going to need to evaluate this and get a diagnosis. And the evaluation is an evaluation of your time, your daily schedule. So what you're going to do is go ahead and get a sheet of paper. You can get lined paper, whatever it is. And I want you to write out every single hour of the day. All 24. All 24 of them, okay? I need you to go ahead and write that out. And the way you're going to write it is you're going to make 2 columns, and one of them is going to say time, okay? And the other one is going to say activity. Time and activity, okay? So we're going to have time on the left, activity on the right, okay? So once you lay all of that out, I want you to write what you currently, as of today, what you currently have for each one of those hour brackets, okay? And nothing is too big, nothing is too small. I need you to write all of it out. This is key because we want to see what's happening in your day. And when we see these things, we can start opening our eyes to like the idea of like, man, where's all the time going through the day? You lay all of this out, you're starting to see, okay, this is literally 100% of where everything is going, where all of my time is going, okay? That's just the first step. You're just writing down, no judgment, nothing going on here. You're just writing down everything that's happening in your day. That's the first step, okay? Write everything out. Then you're going to fill in every single slot, okay? Which I just mentioned, you're going to write down every little thing that you do. Now here's the key here. You're going to identify the time suckers. That's what I like to call them. Your time suckers, those little leeches that are sucking away your time to being able to be executing. You want to be able to identify what those things are, okay? Now, some of these things can just be downtime things, which is totally fine. This isn't eliminating downtime. You're not just supposed to be working 24 hours just straight working. That's not what we're getting at here. You do want to just be evaluating, though. So determine what will be perceived as downtime. Example, watching TV, browsing the internet, being on social media, playing video games, going out to parties, etc., okay? Just write those things down when they typically happen, okay? And something that's really important is you have your weekly schedule, then you have your weekend too. So if your weekdays look different from your weekend, write that out, okay? If Saturday is different from Sunday, then you may need 3 sheets, weekdays, Saturday and Sunday. If your weekdays all together are all kind of mixed up and different each time too, make sure to write that out as well. That's key, okay? We want to see everything. We want to see all of it, okay? All right, so write that number at the top of your page. So whatever the time sucker count is, write that at the top of your page. So for example, for me, let's see. So I may watch TV for a couple of hours through the day. Yeah, a couple to a few. So I'll say like 2 to 3 hours, right? And then maybe an hour or so playing some games. So, so that'd be like 4 to 5 hours of, those type of things, like, TV and all that, right? So I'm going to put in the corner 5 hours or whatever the case for downtime, okay? So that's that. That's step 1. That's easy, okay? So if you did not finish step 1, again, pause this. Finish step 1, unpause it. Let's move on to step 2, okay? I am someone who challenges folks to do what they're called to do right at that moment, okay? We're not lollygagging. We are going to make this happen because I want you to succeed, okay? So we're moving on to step 2. I want you to organize your time now. Now we're organizing, okay? So first we evaluate it. Now we are organizing, okay? So before that, I hope when you look at this sheet, you can clearly see everything laid out, right? I hope that I don't know if you were surprised. I don't know if you were surprised when you saw what was there, but that's good. That shock, that surprise should be like, okay, this is interesting. I can see everything, okay? So that's key, okay? But now it's time to replace those leeches with productivity. We want to be productive, okay? So the next step is to develop a strategy that works for you. I want you to give the phrase "go with the flow" a brand new meaning, okay? You must develop a healthy flow that keeps your time organized. And that's what we're going to do next. So under step 2, we got a few little things you need to do. The first thing is to trim, okay? We're going to trim those times of leisure, those time suckers that we can kind of get caught into. We're going to trim those down. Now, again, I want to keep emphasizing this. It's not bad. A lot of things are just neutral. Nothing is good, nothing is bad. What starts making it bad is when it becomes idealistic, when it becomes too much, it's taking up too much of your time. It can become dangerous. It can be dangerous to your destiny and your calling, and we do not want that. We don't play that. We don't do that at Creative Encounter, okay? We definitely don't do that. So what I want you guys to do is to Pay attention to that, and we're going to trim this. So we're not cutting it out completely. That's I want you to know that. So don't feel bad. We're just cutting it down a little bit. So for example, if I watch TV for 2 hours a day, my rule of thumb is to typically try and cut it in half. Now, I know that sounds like a lot at first, but you want to get some space over there. I feel like half is reasonable. Okay, so if I'm doing TV for 2 hours, then maybe I can cut it to 1 hour. Okay, if I watch TV in the morning and at night, maybe I can take one of those away. Like, okay, I'm going to dedicate this time in the evening. That's the time after we put the boys down, or my wife and I, we hang out, hold Netflix and chill and all of that stuff, watching our Hulu, Disney Plus, whatever. Being able to have that time together, right? So I may be like, okay, I'm going to sacrifice some of that time in the morning and only focus on the evening and being able to still have that in place, okay? Whatever works for you, that's key. Or if you want to do both, maybe do 30 minutes in the morning or 30 at night. Whatever these things are, you want to just try and trim them down. That's key, okay? Now, after that, we're going to add in our goals. So now we got some extra room. We trimmed some stuff out, so we should have some spaces on these sheets, okay? You're writing this out. You trimmed it down, now you have some space. That's where you want to start filling in your dreams and goals in those spaces, okay? So, for me, working on music, as an artist, as a musician, I'm a songwriter. I need to be writing my songs. I need to be practicing my instruments. I need to be scheduling events, and all of those different things when I'm going to record, mix, release tracks, all of these things, promote, so many components go into being an artist, right? So I need to put those into those sections, okay? Those activities and things I must do. And then the last component under step 2 is to make it a priority. Figure out yourself. This is where you this is where you move away from the time and you're doing a self-evaluation now. Okay? This is important because you want to know when you're optimal. Is it in the morning? In the afternoon? In the evening? At night? When are you optimal mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually? All of these things play a role in your productivity. It's so key. I'm going to repeat this. All of this plays a significant role in your productivity. You have to know yourself, okay? Now, I will never understand people who are night owls. I'll never get it. I am an early bird like crazy. Like, I tell my wife all the time, if I start waking up past 6:30, 7, I already feel like I'm wasting the day. Like, legit. I start getting a little anxious. I'm like, yo, I should have woke up early. Now everything's kind of dragging. It's like the whole thing, the early bird catches the worm. That's my saying, But some people work better at night. I'm not one of those, So it's just me. It's like the morning is my bread and butter. I'm like, I feel good. I'm energized. I'm ready. So I put my work earlier in the day instead of later, where someone else may put their kids to sleep and then get to work and just work way later into the evening. In some cases, I have to do that based off when projects are due, but it's not ideal. I work best in the morning, So figure out what works best for you and make it a priority of when that works for you. So those different activities related to your goal and dream, now that you know which part of the day is best for that, I need you to shift those around in your day. So you're going to shift some things around, okay? If you find other activities that you're doing during those times when you're most alert, okay, you want to see if you can shift those around to prioritize your dream instead. So move those things around, okay? Now, I want to speak to those who have different schedules and different lifestyles, such as, parents where the kids are all at home, single parents, full-time, homeschoolers, all of those different things and stuff. You're around all your kids all day long. So it could be a little tricky to pull away to be able to work on whatever your endeavor is, right? So you want to try to put some systems in place. Maybe you can get a pool and team of individuals who can, watch the kids for a few hours. If you have like a couple of hours, even an hour or whatever, just some time to pour into it because it's going to grow. It's all about consistency. So if you consistently do a little bit, it's going to grow. It can't help but to grow. That is the law that God put into place. You keep sowing, you keep watering it, it's going to grow. He makes it grow. The scriptures tell us, okay? So with that, See if you can find some individuals who can watch the kids for a bit, so you can get some work done. We have a friend who does the same. Like, they need to get some work done and hit us up, be like, hey, can little man come over for a little bit? Like, oh yeah, for sure. We have hours so they can hang out for a while, and then they come back and scoop them up. We helping each other out in that way. Let's see, if you can't do that, then maybe you can find some type of distraction, whether it's educational or, just literally just playtime, somewhere where they can kind of be distracted playing so that you can take care of things. So we want to make sure I cover the fact that I understand. I definitely understand when it's a little tricky as a parent and all of that, and everyone's lives are not the same. That's why it's nice to have a community and a team to assist in that. So, I just pray that God is able to provide that for you if this is a little tricky to be able to make that time work. But again, it is possible. I will 100% tell you this is possible and doable, and you will do it and you will succeed. You are still here. You want this. God put it in you. You're going to do it. Okay. So that is step 2. Now we're on to step 3. I told y'all just 3 steps. Okay. So if you're going to pause here, if you've completed step 1, great job. Step 2, if you have not, pause it, do it. If you've completed it, great job. I want you guys to do this as you watch so you can knock this out. Okay? Because I know when this goes off, sometimes we go off and do other things. This one is an actual class where I'm telling you, like, I'm going to need you to do this, okay? So I want you to succeed. So we're moving on to step 3 now. This is where you become a master of your time. A master of your time. So far we have surveyed and organized our time. And great job. I'm proud of you. You've been doing great. The last step is where the dream happens. You must now master your time. This is key. That is, you must execute and follow through on your goals, vision, dreams, and endeavors. And this is where everything falls into place, okay? So the first step in this, you got to get a planner. You have to get a planner. I don't care if it's a physical planner like me, digital planner, something on your phone, an app, whatever. I need you to get a planner, okay? Now, it has been my tradition for at least 10 years, every Black Friday, just Black Friday, because it's a day off from work, all of that, close to the end of the year. I always go and buy my planner at that time. That's my thing. Like, this week is going to be Thanksgiving and Black Friday. So this Friday, I'll be getting my 2023 planner, like I've been doing for the last 10 years. And I start already writing things for next year, goals, setting things on the date, all of this stuff already, because I'm like, man, I got that vision. I need to see deep. I need to see deep. And so I can plan ahead and get stuff going, okay? So I want you to make sure you get a planner. That's just like my tradition. That's what I do with that. And then the kind that I like is the one where, has the lines, the sections, and also has this little area for check boxes. I feel like the little check boxes give me these small victories, right? You're like, man, knocked it out, and keeps you on task, right? And then this one also has Bible verses in it. So I love this planner. It has scripture for each day. The beginning of each month has a quote from someone who's like a motivator or a speaker or something. There's a quote in there to really push you to be excellent. So I really love that. So that type of planner I use. My wife, firstly, I'm more black and white. So just kind of like write it, check it off, boom. It doesn't have to be fancy for me. My wife needs planners where it's like, colors, tabs, all these different things. And that's how she flows. That helps her out. So make sure you get a planner that suits you. This is individualized. It's all about you. And I want to kind of pause there and mention, don't focus too much on anyone else and what they're doing. That's not key. This is how you're wired. This is for you, for your success, for your excellence, for you to go into your calling. You do things that work best for you, for your situation, okay? This is completely customizable and individualized, okay? So don't feel any pressure to do it exactly how Duet does it. That's not what this is about. But you need to get a planner of some sort because discipline is key. So however that works for you, that you can lay stuff out and see that you're knocking stuff out, you got to do it. You have to. All right. Now, invest in a planner. The next thing, add in your new organized schedule. So we already did our schedule. We evaluated, found the time suckers. We cut those out, put some space in there for the things that work they're going to work the business or the endeavor and dream that we have. We put all of that in there. We shifted it around based off of when our energy and everything is good. Now you're putting this in an actual planner, not just on this little sheet of paper that can get ripped up and messed up. You want it in a dedicated space. Okay? So use highlighters to color code events and activities that are reoccurring. For example, you can use blue for work, school yellow, dreams green. All these different things you want to put in there. Specific day of the week. This is key too. You need to find a specific day of the week that you always write in your planner to get ready. Now, you can do this every day. I tend to do it every day, but if I pick the day, it will be Sunday. Like Sunday, something that Brandon Burchard, he mentioned, is using Sunday, sitting with your spouse, and go ahead and talk to them and be like, hey, this is what I have planned for the week, sharing each other's schedules and everything, so there's no issue. I want you to know what I have this week. I want to know what you have this week so that we don't overlap, that we don't clash, but we can work cohesively. That's key, okay? So using those Sundays, and whoever is your accountability individual, whether you're single or married, it could be if you're single, whoever your supervisor is or a friend, whoever it is, find someone that you can kind of share like, hey, this is what I need to do this week. Can you help us keep me on task? The accountability piece is key as well, okay? So keep that in mind. And the last part, focus. Focus. Okay, what does focus mean? Focus, I'm talking spatial. Okay, spatial focus. With this, you need to dedicate a specific space where you can work and work well. Okay, what I mean is, for example, this is my studio. The space has to be cleared off. The desk has to be cleared off. My wife, she got me into candles. Like, I love candles. Right now, I have that dream candle up there. I'm not going to light that. I like the dream, I like that focus being there for this podcast. But I like having the candles. She actually got me in a bunch of stuff. We got the plant back here, all of that type of stuff kind of puts this atmosphere where you feel like, man, this is nice. I don't drink coffee, which I mentioned, before. I don't drink coffee. I just have my water, my planner, the word, whether it's on my phone or, actual physical Bible, computer. I'm ready to go. Desk cleared off, just zeroed in and focused, okay? And you need to curate your own space, too, for how you're wired. If you need some colorful things, if you need some comic books or little action figures around your desk, whatever. If you need to play, like for me, I like to listen to music. Some people don't listen to music when they work. I can listen to music and I'm just flowing, except when I'm mixing a track. I got to turn the music off, obviously, right? But that's just how I flow. Everyone works differently. Figure out where you're in your like nirvana, where you can like relax and be like, oh man, this is fantastic. Find your space with that. Okay, that's the focus. Then you want to avoid distractions. As you're working on your dreams, turn those devices off. Turn it off right now. This is not I suggest you I'm telling you, turn it off. Okay, it's a distraction. I really like how iPhone now has the focus feature on there. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? That focus feature where you can set it for sleep focus or work focus, and it's really cool because you can select what's permissible, what can come through. So I can set it up to where it's like, oh, my wife can still come through even on my work mode. No phone calls or notifications, just my wife's phone call, maybe the school, mom, different things like that can come through. My favorite Korean fried chicken place, if they decide to call me for some reason, I'll let that be permissible, acceptable, So, but yeah, so pretty much that's how you want to set it up. That's how you set yourself up to win. Putting the distractions to the side. Because I know since that first iPhone was 2007, something like that, now we'll just be working and our hand just reaches over for the phone. It's like, why am I even reaching for my phone right now? Like every 2 seconds. That has to stop. We gotta break that culture, build a new culture. Highly disciplined, focused creatives who are out there killing it, okay? That is very important, okay? So remove the distractions. Set timers. We have everything on our planner in their hour time frames, right? We don't want this stuff to overlap. So it's easy to get locked in a project. If I'm mixing a track and I'm working on each one of the instruments and all of this stuff, I could easily let it overflow and be like, oh, snap, this took 6 hours and I was supposed to do A, B, C. And I didn't get to those things, right? So you got to set timers that, alert you, beep off to be like, okay, I need to go to the next thing. Okay. And don't stress out and freak out if you don't finish what task you're working on. You just need to come back to it later. Okay. So just pay attention. You come back to it later. So if a project is due on Friday, make sure you start it early. No procrastination either. We're not doing that. Start on Monday. Do a little bit, do increments leading up to that date, divvy it up, so that you can do all of your tasks each day and giving each thing its own space, its own breathing room to be able to flourish. Okay, that's very important. And then once the time is up, check it off in your planner and move on to the next activity. Okay. And that's pretty much it. So now the last thing I have here is I have a snapshot. I just want to share with you. I have a snapshot of how my week flows, and hope that it encourages you and give you some idea of maybe where you're at and where it could be. Now it's crazy because this is drastically different from when I first created this. I created this document a couple years ago, and at that time I was working, my 9 to 5, and now I'm fully an entrepreneur. So it's a little different. So it's funny looking at the before and after. It's pretty cool, actually. So before, there was a lot of vagueness, in there. So, like, for example, like, again, I'm an early bird, right? So we got 5 a.m., wake up, 5:30, nothing is there. 6 a.m. shower, 6:30, 7, nothing. 7:30, start getting the kids ready. 8, drop them off at school. 8:30, breakfast. 9 a.m. for a while, maybe until about 6 or something. It just says NA because I will be working my 9 to 5, right? So, yeah, none of that was there. Then come home, dinner, bathe the kids, put the kids to bed. Little wiggle room there again, hanging out with my wife, and then sleep. Okay? So that's what it used to look like. Then got it more structured. So the now is waking up between like 5 and 6. Devotion time, and 6 a.m. is gym. Now those two are kind of blended together because as I drive to the gym is when I typically listen to the word right there early in the morning, praying as I'm doing that drive. And then when I get into the gym is when I switch over and listen to podcasts. So I would listen to podcasts. There's this really good one called Creative Encounter Podcast. That was really dope. So I suggest you guys check that one out too. That would be amazing. But but no, seriously. I listen to podcasts. I like listening to business podcasts, finance. Those are pretty much my things. Entrepreneurship, business, finance. Those are the type of podcasts I love. Okay. So doing that, then head back home. Let's see what we got next. Breakfast, shower, breakfast, get the kids ready, drop them off at school, and then prep time is around 9 a.m. That's when I kind of just watch some videos, get into the move of getting into business. Then around 10 a.m., editing photos, videos, music, mixing some music. Then lunch. Then I wait until little man goes to sleep before I start actually recording videos because I can't really record when they're awake, making noise and running around, right? Even right now while I'm shooting this podcast episode, they're sleeping, okay? So that's how you kind of play that. Use those different pockets of the day to be able to execute, okay? So it's super important. Then I know around 3 p.m. I pick up my other son from school. 4 p.m. he's really into music, so I start teaching him instruments, playing piano, singing, all of that. Pretty cool. Then dinner, bathe the kids, put them to sleep, get back to a little work in between, hang out with my wife, and then go to sleep. So that's pretty much the flow. And with that, now I put myself in a position to be able to dedicate at least 5 hours a day towards my dream, which is sweet. I just absolutely love it. So I can get a lot done within that time frame. But if you're not at that level yet, that is totally fine. You want to be able to work your way up towards that if possible. But even if you do 30 minutes a day, an hour a day, give yourself something. There shouldn't be any days where you can't pull away and put some time. But it shouldn't just happen sporadically. It needs to be scheduled in. So you need to buckle down and do all of these steps leading up to this right now. Okay, this is very, very important. Okay, so that's it, y'all. That is finding your rhythm, making time for your dreams. I want you guys to implement all 3 of those. So I want you to evaluate the situation. That is key, okay? I want you guys to evaluate. Then I want you guys to organize your time. And then I want you to become a master of your time, okay? This is just extremely important if you want to do this. Now, I will be remiss if I don't mention consistency is key. This cannot be a sporadic thing, which I mentioned before. Consistency is key. You want to be able to be the best version of yourself. So you have to be consistent. And again, this is not about comparing. You're not looking at other people's rhythms, and them finding time for their dreams. This is you finding your rhythm and making time for your dreams. As a lot of you guys know, Kobe Bryant was my dude. You guys know this if you know me, right? And my wife actually recently from Burlington, she bought me this awesome poster that says Mamba Mentality. I actually have it hanging over here. Mamba Mentality, it says, it's a constant quest to be the very best version of one's self. It's not the quest to be the best like someone else or to be just like this other person over here. It's a quest to be the best version of you. So you're the only one that you're competing against, if you want to put it in that context, right? You're the only one that you're competing against. So you want to be able each day to be better than the version of you the day before. You have to. And it starts here with giving yourself wins, putting yourself in a situation to win. And you got to schedule time. This is, again, time is the currency that you don't get it back. You can't. Money comes and goes. Time, you can't get that back. Even right now, that's why I appreciate you guys so much for sitting here and being here at this podcast with me, because you are dedicating your time. The one moment, whatever hour you're watching this, you only get that moment once, okay? So with that, we should cherish our time as much as possible, and use it to the best and not just be wasteful or not sow at all. You already know God said this individual, he was wicked because he just put his gift in the ground, didn't do anything with it. He did absolutely nothing with it. He's like, you could have at least invested it and got a return of some sort. And that's what God is calling each of us to do, to get a return and to invest, okay? So this is it, y'all. I want you guys to implement this. We're going into a new year. I want 2023 to be crazy for you, crazy, full of blessings, opportunities, open doors, execution, just killing the game as a creative. And I know you can do it, okay? So I just want to leave you with that. I hope this was really encouraging and motivating. And I told you guys are going to get a free gift. I don't know if I mentioned that, but yes, you guys get a free gift, okay? And what it is I want to send you a copy of Finding Your Rhythm, Making Time for Your Dreams. So if you look in the description on YouTube, and while you're there, please subscribe. But please go ahead and download that. It's free. I want you guys to get this guide. And yes, I want this to be a blessing for you, okay? So I hope this really helped. I do want to mention again, Creative Encounter is a nonprofit. We are tax deductible. We are under ACT International. We are a department under them. And with that, we do ministry here. We do in-person Creative Encounter events. And the next one coming up is December 10th, Saturday, December 10th. We are partnering with this amazing production called Sat in a Boat. It is awesome. It's evangelistic. It is multimedia. So you got dance, you got spoken word. It's going to be an amazing time. So December 10th, you want to save that on your calendars and come out to the Creative Encounter event. So make sure you guys, all the details will be coming. Make sure you guys check that out. It's going to be a great time. So if you go to @Creative Encounter on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of that, you'll see all the details coming. So December 10th, that's in a few weeks from the recording of this episode. But man, guys, I love you guys so much. I just want to speak and pray a blessing over you right now. Lord Jesus, I thank you so much for every viewer, every listener of this podcast today. I pray that you are glorified through this. I pray that you just spark something in each and every person who is listening to this, that they might implement these tools, that they might execute and do what you are calling them to do, to excel in their creative calling. Help everyone listening to find their rhythm. Open up that space. Give them the room to be able to do the things that you're calling them to do. Help them to be focused and to kill it and just do what you are calling us to do, God. We love you. We praise you. We trust you. Thank you so much for our gifts and talents. And let's just change this world. In Jesus' name, amen. Love you guys. Tune in next week for the next Creative Encounter episode. It's going to be an amazing one. I'll be interviewing some more guests, and specifically one of the guests is going to be the one who created Sat in a Boat. So I want you guys to check that out before we actually have that event on December 10th. But yes, it's going to be a great time. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.